Shaqtalkstocks, we back another day, another video. Alright, took Sunday off, the Lord's Day, had to relax a little bit. But we back like we never left. Alright, so Trump. Now what I always tell y'all about Mr. Trump, or what I always tell y'all about the news period in the stock market. I always tell y'all that they are one and the same. You gotta look at it like the stock market is driven by the news. And Mr. House of Cards right here, Mr. Trump, Mr. Born for the Job, Mr. Apprentice, he knows that better than anybody, and I'm gonna show you how. So he did a drive-by in his condition right now. He sick and all that supposedly, but he did a drive-by showing that he has strength and he's enough to move around and be outside. And I'll tell you the reason for that. Just like how if you know history, I think it was FDR when he couldn't walk. He was always shown in pictures propped up. Back then, they didn't really have cameras. But he was always shown, one of them presidents, he was always shown propped up, and he actually couldn't walk. And the reason is because the U.S. president is looked at as like the world's president. He's the most popular president. Call it what it is. Whoever runs the U.S. presidency or wins the U.S. presidency is always shown as like the world's president. It is what it is. Popular. And Trump, like he said, if y'all want the stock market to keep winning, y'all need to reelect me. So he knows that by rumors of him being too sick to possibly participate in the next debate or win the next election, it drove markets down. Now with this drive-by, the strategic drive-by showing that he's well enough to go outside and all that kind of stuff after being diagnosed with the virus at that Rose ball that they were having, man, them boys was partying outside, and he ended up catching it. So I'm gonna show y'all how his condition improving drove the market. So global shares rise on optimism about Trump's health. So boom, global shares rose Monday as investors were encouraged by positive reports about Donald Trump's health after his hospitalization with the corona. So France rose, Germany's DAX rose, Britain rose, the US shares were set to advance. How is that possible with just one picture or one video of him driving by? It's the same reason he put out that video the same day talking about I'm well enough to go out. Not well enough to go out. I'm well enough to talk to people. I can't just stay in my room. Da 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 da. Remember that video he put out on his Twitter like right after? All that is strategically done. Maybe not even by him, because these dudes are I want to say controlled by other people around him who sees the best things for them that will keep them in the race. And right now he's a couple weeks away from the presidency. He can't be shown as weak or not strong enough to lead the country through a next term if you can't get through a virus. But that's just what it is. And like I said, man, last week in that video about the debate, these is two old dudes. These dudes is nearing the 80s, bro. So you gotta understand, like nearing their 80s, these are grandpas running for the election. Like one cold could take these dudes out. So just beware of that. Trump briefly ventured out in a motorcade on Sunday to wave to cheering supporters. His medical team reported that his blood oxygen level dropped twice and that they gave him steroids typically only recommended for the very sick. It was that purple, that Reverix or whatever, that purple box that they were showing in the news. I guess they gave him that. In Asian trading, Japanese benchmark, I always call it Nike 225, gained 1.2 to finish at 23K. South Korea jumped, Australians S&P jumped, Hong Kong jumped. Global market strategist Axis said global markets were focused on Trump's health. Boom, right there. See? Whatever happened to this dude, bro, Mr. House of Cards, Mr. Trump card, Mr. Born for the Job, Mr. The Sheep Support Me, whatever happens to him is where the market's gonna go. Y'all need to go watch that Serta commercial with the sheep, and then holler back at me. We a little into the video right now, so I'll give y'all a little gem. Go check it out and then holler at me. By reducing uncertainty possibly around the possible delay in the U.S. election, the initial market reaction should be positive for risk assets, aka stocks, oil, all that stuff. U.S. equities and oil prices, for example, reversing Friday's decline. See? So, like I always say, bro, this dude, he is the Trump card. He is the and Honestly, bro, yeah, I call it right now. I think he gonna win the next election. Don't quote me on that, but quote me on that. I think he going right back in that seat. President Trump's decision to greet his supporters in a drive-by outside his hospital may have been criticized by medical experts, but the show of strength perked up the global markets this morning. Investors having been keeping close tabs on the president's condition. The whole world is watching him. On Friday, after that, he and his wife Melania tested positive for corona. So that's just a quick video. Shaqtalkstocks, like I always say, man, this dude, he wherever he goes, the market goes, and if he can keep himself in the news, showing that he's shaking the virus like a young man, the markets will win. And